Illinois Democratic Congressman and member of the House Select Committee on Intelligence, Raja Krishnamoorthi. Congressman, welcome back to the broadcast. Good to see you. And right there, you heard Representative Thompson take his take on all of this. I'm curious yours, also on the fact that Donald Trump is hosting people who tried to undo the nation's democratic process at his home last night in Florida.
Well, I wasn't invited to that. It looked like a real rogues gallery of people who were involved with January 6th and the run-up to January 6th and trying to decertify the election. Obviously tomorrow's January 6th. I am currently in the Capitol complex because I want to be here for sure to certify the presidential election. It was a dark day in democracy. I mean, this is a day that only a tiny minority of Americans feel was somehow appropriately conducted back in 2021. And only a tiny minority of Americans want people pardoned in connection with their insurrectionist activity. So whatever Donald Trump and others want to do goes against the wishes of the American people. And it's something that we are obviously going to oppose, and I will oppose in any way possible.
I presume you're there in advance because of the winter weather that's heading to D.C. and trying to make sure that you are there for the vote. But what's going to go through your mind? How do you feel about tomorrow and this really traumatic anniversary?
It's going to be very emotional for a lot of us. I was actually in my office when a bomb was discovered 200 feet away from my office window. All the emotions of that day are going to course through, as we witness what happens tomorrow. But at the end of the day, all Democrats that I know that I've talked to are going to certify the election. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose an election to determine whether you're going to certify it. That is the principle that we Democrats are going to uphold, unlike some of our colleagues on the other side who decided that it was appropriate to decertify the election because Donald Trump lost. And so this will be poignant because Kamala Harris is going to obviously preside over the certification process, but she's going to do the right thing, Alex. She's going to uphold the election. She's going to certify Donald Trump as the winner. And in that regard, she's going to conduct herself in a very dignified fashion.
And you can guarantee that despite the Democratic candidate, Joe Biden, losing the election, not a single Democratic vote will be for decertification?
Well, as you know, Kamala Harris was our nominee. But yes, I believe that almost every Democrat is going to certify the election.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And by the way, I did have to catch up. It was Kamala Harris that ran. Joe Biden stepped aside in the summer. That was a whole nother thing. Let me get to Capitol Hill Police because they have heightened security ahead of the certification. Are you confident you're going to be safe there tomorrow? Has Congress been reminded of emergency procedures in case things get out of control again?
I believe that we're going to be safe. I think that the U.S. Capitol Police have done quite a bit in the intervening 4 years to bolster security around here in general. And specifically with regard to tomorrow, I think that they're going to take important steps to safeguard the Capitol as they should.
So on the eve of the certification of these election results, it begs the question, is Trump having a criminal record enough? Does a blotch attached to his name? Does it show a job well done by our justice system, despite what it looks like in terms of tangible effects on him?
Frankly, it's dissatisfying, Alex. I think that the Justice Department moved way too slowly with regard to the January 6th process of charging people and then convicting them. And of course, investigating and then going after Donald Trump for what he did in inciting the insurrection. All that being said, we're here today. And I think that Judge Merchan has decided that he can't impose jail time, although I should say that every other defendant, every other person who's been convicted of similar crimes since 2014, according to the New York Times, has actually served jail time. So that's dissatisfying. But upholding the principle of the conviction is important in itself. And so I think if at the least he can do that, and then we can maybe look at sentencing Donald Trump after his presidency, that would be something to salvage out of this process.
So I'm curious how you, and we remind our viewers, you're a Harvard-educated lawyer. How do you expect his appeal process to go? Could this follow Trump well into his presidency? Would it be wrapped up quickly, considering he's back in the Oval Office soon?
So I understand that Donald Trump has two routes to pursue right now. Either he could look to stay the sentencing that's coming up in a few days, in which case he can't then appeal that, because you have to allow the sentencing to be completed for him to appeal it. Or he could decide to accept the sentence and then appeal it during his second presidency. And yes, I think that will probably be going all the way up to the Supreme Court again. But that will probably, obviously allow for the conviction to stand, and he will be a convicted. He will have been convicted of 34 felonies while serving as president.
Yeah. In the wake of the New Orleans terrorist attack, given your position on the Intelligence Committee, what is the level of threat? What do you know about that against the United States on any given day from any given source? Do you feel the United States is safe and prepared to go about its regular business on a day-to-day basis?
Fortunately, the level of threats is high, but I still believe that we're safe. Why? Because of the FBI, because of our law enforcement authorities. And that's why I am so concerned when people like Kash Patel or Donald Trump attack the FBI and say things like, they're going to close down the headquarters and send people packing. Remember, the FBI and other law enforcement authorities have prevented a 9/11 from happening since 9/11 first happened. And we have to do everything in our power to protect the homeland and stand with our law enforcement, stand with the FBI and others in the intelligence community to prevent future attacks.
All right. Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, it's awfully good to see you, and I hope to see you many more times throughout this new year. Thank you.